My first flight to America, English conversation. I still can't believe this is actually happening, Jane. I mean, I've dreamed about traveling to America since I was a kid, but dreams always felt distant, like something meant for other people, not for me. And now here we are, sitting in this airport lounge, boarding passes in our hands, passports stamped, luggage checked in. It feels surreal. There's a mixture of excitement and nervousness inside me that I can't even explain properly. Part of me is thrilled about the adventure ahead, the new culture, the opportunities, the experiences, but another part of me keeps wondering if I'm truly ready for such a big step. You know how life has been for me, routines, responsibilities, staying within what I know. This flight feels like I'm crossing not just an ocean, but an entire chapter of my life. I keep thinking about what my parents said when they hugged me goodbye this morning. My mother tried to be strong, but I could see the tears she was holding back. My father just smiled and said, "Make the most of it." That moment alone made everything feel real.
I understand exactly what you mean, David. For me, it's not just about traveling to another country, it's about transformation. Ever since we started planning this trip, I've felt like something inside me has been slowly shifting, like I'm preparing for a version of myself I haven't met yet. You know, growing up, I used to watch movies set in American cities and imagine what it would be like to walk through those streets, hear the accents, see the skyline, experience the lifestyle. But beyond the glamour, I've always been curious about the everyday life, the small things, like grocery stores, public transport, people's routines. I want to observe, to learn, to absorb. And I think what makes this journey special is that we're doing it together. Traveling alone would have been overwhelming. There's that quiet fear of the unknown, immigration checks, cultural differences, even just figuring out how to navigate everything once we land. But sometimes growth only happens when we
Exactly. And honestly, I think that's why this trip means so much to me. It's not just tourism, it's a statement to myself that I'm capable of more than I thought. I've spent years playing it safe, choosing predictable paths, avoiding risks. But this feels like courage. Even the process of preparing, applying for visas, saving money, planning itineraries, taught me patience and discipline. There were moments I almost gave up, especially when things seemed complicated or expensive. But every obstacle we overcame made the dream feel more tangible. And now, sitting here, watching planes take off through that massive window, I realize something: every single person on those flights is carrying their own story, their own hopes. We're part of that flow now. That realization is humbling. I'm also thinking about what we might discover about ourselves on this trip. Sometimes when you change environments, you discover sides of yourself you didn't even know existed. Maybe I'll become more confident. Maybe I'll learn to adapt faster. Maybe I'll come back home with a completely different mindset about life and possibilities.
That's such a powerful way to look at it. Travel really does act like a mirror. It reflects who you are when you're removed from familiarity. I remember reading somewhere that when you're in a new country, you're forced to rely on your instincts more. You pay closer attention, you become more aware, more present. I'm actually looking forward to that heightened awareness. And I'm curious about how we'll handle challenges together. There's something bonding about navigating unfamiliar situations with someone you trust. Even simple things, like figuring out transportation from the airport or ordering food in a new environment, can become memorable experiences. And let's be honest, we'll probably make mistakes. We might get lost, misunderstand directions, or misjudge situations. But those stories often become the best memories later. I think what excites me most is the sense of possibility, but stepping into a new country feels like opening a blank page. Anything could happen: new friendships, unexpected opportunities, moments that change how.
You're right. And speaking of unexpected moments, I keep imagining what it will feel like when the plane actually takes off. I've flown before, but this is different. This is international, long haul, across continents. There's something symbolic about leaving the ground, like physically separating from the life you know and heading toward something unknown. I wonder if I'll sleep on the plane or just stare out the window thinking about everything. I'm also curious about the little details, the airplane meals, the cabin atmosphere, the sound of different languages being spoken around us. Even the thought of walking through a major international airport when we land feels cinematic to me. And I have to admit, part of me feels proud. Not in an arrogant way, but in a quiet, personal way. I set a goal, worked toward it, and now I'm achieving it. That feeling alone makes the journey worthwhile, regardless of what happens next.
I feel that pride too. Sometimes we underestimate the significance of accomplishing something we once thought was impossible. This trip represents effort, persistence, and belief. And I think it also represents trust. Trust in ourselves, in each other, and in the idea that life can expand beyond our current boundaries. I'm imagining our first moments after landing, the smell of the air, the sounds, the energy. Every country has its own rhythm, its own atmosphere. I wonder what the first thing we'll notice will be. Maybe the scale of everything, or the pace of people moving around. And I'm already excited about documenting everything: photos, videos, even just journaling our experiences. Years from now, we'll look back at this trip as the beginning of something. Maybe the beginning of more travel, more courage, more ambition. It's funny how one decision, buying a ticket, can open doors you didn't even know existed.
You know, Jane, there's also something deeper I've been thinking about. This journey feels like a reminder that the world is much bigger than the limitations we sometimes place on ourselves. Growing up, I used to think opportunities were reserved for people with special circumstances, more money, more connections, more advantages. But preparing for this trip showed me that determination can close a lot of gaps. It doesn't eliminate challenges, but it makes them manageable. And I think that realization alone has changed my mindset. Even before we board the plane, I already feel like I've grown. I'm more confident about pursuing other goals now. If I can organize an international trip, what else might I be capable of? That thought is empowering. And honestly, I'm grateful you encouraged me when I doubted myself. There were moments I almost convinced myself it wasn't worth the effort. Having someone believe in you makes a huge difference.
I'm glad I could be part of that encouragement, but you deserve the credit, David. You did the work. You faced the fears. You made the commitment. And that's something no one can take away from you. I think what makes this experience special is that it's not just about reaching a destination, it's about becoming someone new along the way. Growth rarely feels comfortable, but it always feels meaningful. And as we sit here waiting for boarding to start, I feel this calm excitement, like standing at the edge of something beautiful and unknown. No matter what happens, this trip will become part of our story. Years from now, we'll say, "Remember our first flight to America?" And we'll laugh about the nerves, the anticipation, the little moments that felt so big at the time. That's the beauty of life. It's made of moments like this.
You're right. And I think when they finally call our boarding group, I'll probably feel a rush of adrenaline. But I'll also feel gratitude for the opportunity, for the journey, for the company. Because traveling with someone who understands the emotional weight of the experience makes it richer. This isn't just my first flight to America. It's our first step into a new chapter. And I have a feeling that when we look back on this day, we won't just remember the destination, we'll remember how we felt right now. The anticipation, the hope, the courage. And honestly, Jane, I wouldn't want to share this moment with anyone else.
And I feel the same way, David. Whatever awaits us on the other side of this journey, we'll face it together, with curiosity, courage, and open minds. Now, I think that's our boarding call. Ready?
Ready. Let's go make history, our history. Inside the plane, Jane, I still feel like this is not real. We are really going to America today. When I woke up this morning, I kept checking my ticket again and again because I was scared something might be wrong. I have waited for this moment for so long. You know, when I was young, I used to see planes in the sky and wonder where they were going. I never imagined that one day I would sit inside one and travel across the ocean. My heart is beating fast, not only because I am excited, but also because I am nervous. This is my first time traveling so far from home. Everything feels new, the airport, the announcements, the people speaking different languages. I keep thinking about my family too. When I hugged my mother goodbye, she told me to be strong and enjoy the journey. I could see she was proud, but also worried. That made me emotional. I think this trip means more to me than just visiting another country. It feels like I am proving something to myself, that I can do big things too.
I understand you completely, David. I also feel many emotions at the same time. I am happy, excited, and a little afraid too. Traveling to another country is not a small thing. It changes how you see the world. Since we started planning this trip, I have been imagining what life will be like there. I keep thinking about the cities, the buildings, the people, and the culture. But I am also curious about simple things, like how people buy food, how they greet each other, and how daily life feels. I think those small experiences will stay in my memory the most. I am also glad I am not traveling alone. Having you here makes me feel safe and calm. We can help each other if something goes wrong. And honestly, even if we get confused or lost sometimes, I believe we will laugh about it later. Sometimes the best memories come from small mistakes during travel. This journey feels like the start of something new for both of us.
Yes, that is true. I keep looking at the planes outside the window, and every time one takes off, I imagine us inside. There is something powerful about leaving the ground and flying into the sky. It feels like freedom. I also think about how much work it took to reach this moment, saving money, applying for documents, planning everything carefully. There were times when I felt tired and wanted to stop, but I am glad I didn't. Now I feel proud of myself. Not in a big or loud way, but quietly proud inside. I also wonder what I will feel when we land in America. Will it feel different immediately? Will I notice the air, the sounds, the energy? I imagine walking through the airport there and realizing, wow, I really made it. That moment will probably stay in my mind forever. This trip is not just about travel. It is about growth.
You are right. Travel really helps people grow. When you leave your normal environment, you learn new things about yourself. You become more aware, more patient, and more open-minded. I think we will both change after this trip, even in small ways. Maybe we will become more confident. Maybe we will dream bigger. I also think about the future. This could be the first of many trips. Once you see that something is possible, you stop limiting yourself. I am also excited about documenting everything, taking photos, writing notes, maybe recording videos. Years from now, we will look back and remember how we felt today. The nervous excitement, the hope, the anticipation. Those feelings are special because they only happen once. The first time you do something big.
That is very true. First experiences are always powerful. I remember my first day at school, my first job interview, my first salary. But this feels even bigger. I think it is because traveling to another continent is something I once thought was impossible. I used to believe that only people with a lot of money or special opportunities could do this. But now I see that determination also matters. If you plan well and stay focused, you can reach goals that seem far away. That realization alone has changed how I think about life. I feel like more doors are open now. Maybe after this trip, I will not be afraid to try other big things. Maybe I will take more risks. I also want to learn from this experience how people live, how systems work, what ideas I can bring back home.
I love that mindset, David. Travel is not only about seeing places, but also about learning. Every country has something to teach. Even simple things like how people organize transportation or customer service can give us new ideas. And meeting people from different backgrounds can change our perspective. Sometimes we realize that humans everywhere are similar. We all want happiness, security, and connection. I am also excited about the airplane experience itself. This will be a long flight, many hours in the air. I wonder if I will sleep or just watch movies the whole time. I am curious about the food they will serve, the feeling of flying at night, and seeing clouds from above. It feels almost magical when you think about it. Humans flying thousands of kilometers in a metal machine. Technology is amazing.
Yes, it really is. I think I will spend some time just looking out the window. Even darkness in the sky might feel special because I will know we are crossing oceans and continents. I also want to think during the flight about my goals, my future, and what I want to achieve. Sometimes being far away from daily life helps you think more clearly. You see your life from a different angle. I feel grateful too, grateful that I have this chance, grateful that I worked hard enough to make it happen, and grateful that I am traveling with someone I trust. Sharing this moment with you makes it more meaningful. If I were alone, it might feel overwhelming. But with you, it feels like an adventure.
I feel the same way. Traveling together creates a special bond. We will share memories that no one else has. Years later, when we talk about this trip, we will remember small details. What we said at the airport, how we felt during takeoff, what surprised us the most. Those shared memories become part of friendship forever. I also think about how this trip might change our confidence. When you achieve something big, you start believing in yourself more. That confidence stays with you even after the trip ends. It affects how you work, how you plan, and how you dream. In a way, this journey is an investment in ourselves.
That is a beautiful way to say it, an investment in ourselves. I also think about my younger self. If the younger David could see me now, sitting in an international airport about to fly to America, he would be shocked and proud. That thought makes me emotional. Life can surprise us in good ways when we keep trying. I also want to enjoy every moment, even the waiting, even the nervousness. Because these feelings are part of the story. One day, this will become a memory, and I want it to be a strong one.
Yes, we should be present in every moment. Right now, we are standing at the edge of something new. Soon we will board the plane, sit in our seats, and begin a journey that once felt impossible. No matter what happens during the trip, we already achieved something important. We had the courage to try. That alone is worth celebrating. And I believe when we land, we will feel proud, happy, and maybe even stronger inside. This is just the beginning.
I think they just announced our boarding group. My heart is beating faster now. This is it, the moment we have been waiting for. Thank you, Jane, for encouraging me and for being part of this journey. I honestly could not imagine doing this without you.
And thank you too, David. We are doing this together. Let's go. Our adventure is starting now.
Yes, let's go make memories. Our first day in America. Jane, we made it. We are really here. When the plane landed and everyone started clapping softly, I felt something inside my chest, like relief, excitement, and disbelief all mixed together. Walking through the airport felt like being inside a movie. Everything looked so big and organized, and I kept noticing small differences, the signs, the accents, even the way people moved quickly with confidence. When the immigration officer stamped my passport, that sound alone felt important, like a door opening to a new experience in my life. I think the tiredness from the long flight is still in my body, but the excitement is stronger. Even the air outside the airport feels different, cooler, fresher somehow. Sitting here now in this taxi, looking out at the wide roads and tall buildings, I keep telling myself, David, you are really in America. It feels unreal but also very real at the same time.
I know exactly what you mean. I also had that moment when the officer stamped my passport. It felt symbolic, like permission to explore a new world. And walking through the airport, hearing so many different accents and seeing people from many cultures, reminded me how international this place is. I noticed how confident people look here, like everyone has somewhere important to be. Even the roads outside surprised me. Everything seems larger, the highways, the cars, the buildings. I think our minds are trying to process so many new details at once. I'm also feeling tired, but in a good way. It's the kind of tiredness that comes after achieving something meaningful. I keep smiling without realizing it. We planned this trip for so long, and now we are finally experiencing it. That feeling is beautiful.
Yes, it really is. And I keep thinking about how brave we were to do this. There were moments before the trip when I doubted myself, when I wondered if we should cancel or postpone. But now I'm so glad we didn't. Looking around, I feel proud that we pushed ourselves beyond our comfort zone. I'm also curious about everything, the neighborhoods, the shops, the food, the people. Even simple things like traffic lights and street signs feel interesting because they are different from home. I want to observe everything carefully. I think travel changes you when you allow yourself to notice details. Right now, I feel like a student again, learning about a new environment.
That's a good way to see it, like being a student of the world. I also want to learn as much as possible during this trip. Not just about places, but about how people think and live. I believe every culture has lessons. I'm also excited to try the food here. I've heard so much about American portions being large, so maybe we should share meals at first. And I want to explore the city slowly, without rushing. Our first day doesn't need to be full of activities. Even walking around and feeling the atmosphere is enough. Sometimes the first impressions are the most powerful memories.
I agree. I don't want to rush either. After we check into the hotel, maybe we can rest for a short time and then go for a walk nearby. I want to feel the streets, hear the sounds, and see people living their daily lives. That will make it real in my mind. I also want to call my family later and tell them we arrived safely. I know they are waiting for that message. My mother will probably ask 100 questions. I can already imagine her voice full of relief. Sharing this moment with family will make it even more meaningful.
Yes, we should definitely call them. Our families supported us emotionally during the planning, so they deserve to share our happiness now. And I think tonight, after everything settles, we should talk about how we feel. Big experiences sometimes bring unexpected emotions. We might feel joy, homesickness, excitement, or even confusion. That's normal when you are far from home for the first time. But having each other here makes it easier. We can talk openly and support one another. That's one of the advantages of traveling together.
I'm really grateful for that. Honestly, having you here makes me feel calm. If I were alone, I might feel overwhelmed by all the new things. But with you, it feels like an adventure instead of a challenge. Oh, look outside, those buildings are amazing. They look exactly like the ones I used to see in movies. It's funny how something you've only seen on screen suddenly becomes real in front of your eyes. I think that's one of the most magical parts of travel, turning imagination into reality.
Yes, and I think this is only the beginning. Tomorrow, and the days after, we will discover more places, meet new people, and create memories. But this first day will always be special, because it's the moment when the dream became real. Years from now, we will remember this taxi ride, this conversation, and the feeling in our hearts right now. First experiences have a unique power. They stay with you forever.
You're right. And I want to remember this feeling, the excitement, the pride, the gratitude. This trip is already changing how I see myself. If I can travel across the world, maybe I can achieve other big goals too. I feel more confident about the future. And I'm thankful we are sharing this journey. It makes everything richer.
I feel the same, David. This is more than a trip. It's a milestone in our lives. We stepped out of our comfort zones and into something bigger. And no matter what happens during the rest of the journey, we already succeeded by being here. Now, let's enjoy every moment, one step at a time.
Yes. Our first day in America, and many more memories waiting for us.